Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome to the Weird Science Comics channel, where I'm going to go through the new X book, X Factor #1 by Leah Williams and David Baldione. And this is me getting to actually start talking about the X books on the channel. I had spent a bunch of time, a couple months, getting caught up on the Dawn of X line of books on our Marvel podcast. So if you wanted to hear me talk about all the X books, you can go and check out our podcast there. But I'm going to be able to talk about these now that I'm caught up. And we have the X Factor book coming out here. And I was looking forward to it. It is a wacky team. You end up having something that is different from the rest of the books. But jumping in, I have some worries about it going forward. Not that I didn't like this issue. I didn't love it like some, but I have, a little bit of trepidation as we go forward. But I'm going to give it more time because this is a #1. Obviously, it's an oversized issue. So when we get into it, the whole thing is set up by Northstar having a premonition that his sister Aurora is dead. He ends up getting this, vision that she's dead, heads off to the Five to demand a resurrection. Hey, my sister's dead. I want a resurrection. And what this book does in a pretty good way is to show you that the whole idea of mutants can be resurrected. We have talked about it. Anybody who has talked about these X books talks about the idea that there are no stakes to the deal of anybody dying. They can be resurrected. Well, what this book and what Leah Williams is trying to show you is that it's not as easy. It's not as lickety-split as you would think. There is some red tape. There are a lot of mutants that are missing / dead, and you end up having to have proof of death. You have to wait in line. Now, that's fine for not as big a, X-Men as, say, Wolverine. If Wolverine dies, there's no red tape. If Jean Grey dies, you're not waiting in line behind 100 people. Cyclops, that doesn't matter to the main X-Men. But I like seeing this and seeing that Northstar's pissed. He wants his sister back. But he has to wait in line, and he needs the burden of proof to do this. The burden of proof is being her death. So he does go off and starts investigating, which leads him to hook up with Polaris, Lorna, who is Magneto's daughter, ends up where she's going to get involved. And this is when the team starts coming together. They start putting a team together to go and find out if, Aurora is definitely dead, how she died, whatnot. And the team is pretty cool. You end up having Northstar, Polaris, Dakin, Prodigy, Prestige, and iBoy. And they all go off to investigate. Pretty much the last place that Aurora was a motel outside of Bellingham, Washington. And they do go there. And you get to see some of the team's abilities as you go through this. You end up seeing Rachel using her chrono skimming so that you can see the last bit of things that Aurora did. And it doesn't seem like she was under any duress. She's just getting ready. She's fixing her hair. That is also verified by Dakin, who goes and uses his abilities to flirt and get the guy at the front desk to give him some info. They don't really get the full info of, okay, this is where she is, this is what happened, but they do get a little bit of an idea, and then they use some hair on Aurora's brush that was left behind for Amazing Baby, the werewolf, to then sniff out where you end up having Aurora's last bit being, and it is where she went off a bridge into a river, and they are able to pull up the van that she was in, which does then give Northstar the burden of proof. The death, he has the body. He takes it down and just throws it down to the Five. Here, you want proof? Here's your proof. Here's my sister's dead body. You jerks, now resurrect her. Now, it's not going to be that simple because they want to do an autopsy, and the rest of the team stayed behind and looked into things. You end up having Northstar. He just grabbed the body and he went off. He wants her to be resurrected as soon as possible. They look, and there is some foul play involved, ties into this guy, Eddie, an anti-mutant. They still don't know why Aurora would have been hooking up with this guy or doing anything with him, but they know that there was foul play. So they do go to the quiet council to tell them, listen, there was foul play. There's things going on. In the meantime, we're pretty good at this. We're pretty good at doing this sort of deal, investigating, finding these bodies, finding out what happened to these mutants who have been killed. Maybe we should be a team. How about that, Quiet Council? We'll form a team, and that's what we'll do. And they agree. Now, they say, it's good. That's good. We're going to go with it. Lorna, you are the head of the team. And she says, no, I'm going to defer. I want Northstar to be the leader, something that they then agree to, something that Magneto, her father, thinks is not the greatest. Hey, you didn't look that great in front of the council. You ended up deferring. It looks like you might be weak, whatever. She ends up saying, no, it has nothing to do with that. And she ends up, I want to learn about myself, and even throws in the deal that Magneto doesn't even know that much about it. I want to learn about what I can do about myself. I don't need that leadership role right now. And we see, and I said that I thought that the issue could have ended with that. Here's your proof. If Northstar throws the body, that would have been a really great cliffhanger. But because it is an extended issue, it's an oversized issue, you do go. And the one thing that I'm glad that we did go on and see is that Lorna then goes out into the wilds of Krakoa. And we see that behind the scenes, she has been able to talk and work with Krakoa. She's making things with Krakoa. And this is something that could be very, very big. We had seen Mondo kind of commune with the whole deal with Krakoa, but it wasn't really a nice thing. When you ended up having Mondo go and Krakoa kind of talking through him with Cypher usually, Krakoa didn't like it too much, and neither did Mondo. He hated doing this. This is something different. This seems like both are into this, and she ends up using her powers with Krakoa, combining there to make what is the X Factor base that Dakin shows up and calls the Boneyard. And they go in and have some, hey, look at this. Where's the basement? Oh, look at the indoor pool. No, that's a toilet. Oh, no. They have that sort of talk with that going through. But the big thing is because they're going to be this team that's going to go off and check out these dead mutants, get the proof, things like that. They need a system for the other mutants to get a hold of them and tell them, okay, I have a job for you. And Ford shows up and he explains it with fleet seeds. And I'm telling you, I'm no rocket surgeon, but really, he says there's zero waste, sustainably designed proxy messenger system with a passive psychic interface.
Incoherent blabbering.
I don't know what that means. I'm telling you, all you have to do is, hey, how are we going to get a hold of people? These plants will do it. They'll get a hold of you. But it does lead to the big cliffhanger. And it's a moment that I thought you could see coming, but it's still a cool moment. It's a cool thing where Leah Williams basically is going to show you how much this X Factor team is needed. Whether you're reading and think it's needed or not, she's going to give you the proof that it is, because you end up having Forge. Okay, we're gonna set these on right now. I only have a couple, so you're probably not going to get a lot of hits right away. You're not going to get a lot of jobs, immediately, but it'll work out. Sage is putting things through you just give it time, hits it, and there's a million. They all pop up. Oh my. I think that there is a use for the team. And then Northstar's like, let's get a cracking. And that's what they go and do. Now, with this, I had fun enough with it. I think that this is one of those where most people who do like it are going to point to the idea. It's a fun looking team. You end up having a fun deal. I like the interactions. When I go, and especially these newer X-Men books, you got to think to yourself, is it a necessary book? And also, because there's so many and people can't buy every book, is it a book that's big enough that you would not get another book that you're already getting, replace it with this, and can it stand alone? And I'm not entirely convinced of any of that. Now, it's a first issue, so we have to give it some time. I usually try to give everything. With money situations and things, I can't even say give it a full 5-6 issue arc. I usually give it 3 issues. You get to see how things are developing. So by then I can really, nail that down. But I'm worried. I'm worried with the idea, is this a necessary book? Is this something that if you're reading, say, X Factor, you're going to drop that to get, or not X Factor, X Force, I'm sorry. You're going to drop to get this. Are you going to drop Marauders to get this? So That's a concern with me. But my biggest concern is there is a lot of dialogue. It's very heavy dialogue. Now, maybe Leah Williams is doing this just to get you into the character. But it is balanced in this issue. It's oversized. So the over dialogue deal, you're still getting a full story because you have a lot of pages. I'm worried that she really needs to tighten it up in a 21 page regular story. And I'm worried about that. But we have to wait to see. I can't say this, that, or the other thing yet, but we'll wait to see what's going on. But if there's anything that I would really have as a minus, it is the just deluge of dialogue on some of the pages. It's overwhelming at points, even covers up art. At points, you even have dialogue bubbles that have to shift down to the panel below because there's nowhere for them to fit. But besides that, it's a fun team. I want to see more about it. Because of that, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it is definitely worth checking out. And yeah, give it a try. And I hope that you like this review. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it below. Subscribe to the channel. Also, check out our links to all of our podcasts and websites where we review all the books that we talk about. Also talk about them on the podcast in length. We talk a lot longer than just these quick deals. But check that out. Thanks, everybody, and talk to you later.